Let me just get my book. Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's get it on. Test, test.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShabbat, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Orechem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Melech Malachei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good to see everybody. Welcome. We're excited to make our rush now towards the beginning of the year. School starting next week, and we are just about towards Slichot. And if you can believe it, already starting to think about the high holy days. Now, today's a very special day. It was 22 years ago. 22 years ago today that I got my last speeding ticket. 22. Now, where was I going? I just want to share this little story with you very quickly. So, it was also 20 years ago today that Jody and I got married, August 11th. Well, so I had three of my closest friends from college who had come in to be groomsmen for the wedding. And they were really, kind of, degenerates basically, and had no, had no sense of class at all. And it was a black tie. It wasn't so much black tie, but when you're on the bima, it is. None of them brought tuxedos. So I had to rush downtown in Cincinnati to a tuxedo place to rent tuxedos and pay for them. And then rush them back to these guys, and then go to like 3 other places. And I'm racing down the river to get these tuxedos. I have 4 million places to go before the wedding, and I get pulled over. So I said to the policeman, "It's my wedding day." And it was like 1 o'clock. He said, "Well, what time's the wedding?" I said, "Sundown, He said, "Okay, here's your ticket." He's a disgrace to the force, and to the he gives Cincinnati just a complete bad. No, but I do want to tell you this. My wife, you probably know this story, but when we met, she was reading a book about Israel, but she wasn't Jewish. And I said to her when she was reading the book, I went to introduce myself. I'm a rabbinic student. She said, "You're reading a book from Israel? Isn't that great? I just moved here from Israel." She said, "I'm not Jewish." I said, "What kind of sick joke is this? What do you mean?" So, fast forward 2-3 years, she converts on the bima of a synagogue called Rockdale Temple in Cincinnati. And as she was, as this conversion ceremony ended, all of her friends from college came in and they said, "When are you going to propose?" I said, "I don't know. I do have the ring, but I'm waiting for her to be Jewish and it's going to take some time." She said, "Why don't you do it now? We're all here." So I hadn't thought about that. So I said, "Okay." So I went, I forgot where I hid the ring in our apartment, but I went and I figured it out and I found it and I started rushing to the temple. And I realized I hadn't asked her parents. So I'm calling her parents. Her father, to this day, still has a flip phone. So he's not an easy guy to get a hold of. So I'm calling. And he doesn't answer. And I said, it's not to be. I get out, we park in the synagogue. I said, "I'm going to call one more time." I call, and he answers. I said, "I'd like to propose to your daughter." "Do it!" "What?" I said, "Easy for you to say. I've been trying to call you for 6 hours." So, as soon as the conversion ended, I planned this with the rabbi beforehand, who was also one of my professors. I snuck up. She didn't see me. Proposed right there on the bima, and a year later on that same bima, which is today, we got married. Now, I wish I would have the name of that police officer so that you could all write letters, but chutz mizeh, outside of that, so it's a very special day, and I wanted to share that with you. Now, we want to welcome anyone who's here for the first time. Is there anyone who's joining us for the first time this Shabbat here at Temple Beth Am? Hi, welcome. And you are? Zach, welcome. Shabbat Shalom. And others? Who else? Ken, welcome. Shabbat Shalom. We're delighted that you're here. Anyone else? Yes, please. Rachel, welcome. We're so glad you're all here. I hope you enjoyed the beautiful cheese displays. We don't always have that many different types of cheeses, so I hope you enjoyed it. But welcome all of you to Temple Beth Am. We're going to begin now our Kabbalat Shabbat with the words of Lecha Dodi in our prayer books on page 20.
B'nei
Please be seated. We'd like to welcome our new guests, Rachel, Ken, and Zach. We'd like to honor you by inviting you to come up and join us for Kiddush and candles. If you'd be willing to please come forward so we can embarrass you a little bit. Come on. We'll help you sing. We're missing one. Come on, Ken. Ken. Welcome.
What happens when you give us your name?
We join together. Rachel, would you mind lighting the candles?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
We sanctify this Shabbat as holy with the words of our Shabbat Kiddush on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu bacharta ve'otanu kidasa mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Okay, welcome again. Thank you all so much. All right. We're going to return now to our prayer books, page 28. If you're able, please rise for the Baruch Hu.
La
join me as we read together on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamariv Aravim.
Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai. Give me the key, Billy. Thank you. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Mahuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Continue with Ve'ahavta, page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Continue on page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 43, we read together on the middle of the page. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadow of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence our acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Words for this are found on page 42 and on your song sheet. Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing. And then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am
yes, I drown.
but I
Never let it get me down.
So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around because
All my life I'm waiting for.
I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day.
One day, one day,
One day,
one day, one day.
one day. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
Please rise for the tefillah on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, Vezocher chaste avot ve'imahot, umevi geula livnei v'neihem, lama'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umidom elach melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
We continue silently in either Hebrew or English through the bottom of page 62.
had a lot of loss in the temple recently. We had 2 funerals today. When I was at Daniel Zalkberg's and his brother and sister got up to speak about him, and there was laughing and there was crying, and I understood nothing of what they said because it was in Spanish. And I just thought, man, if I could go back in time to 6th grade Rachel Greengrass and tell that girl to stop trying to be different by going into French when everybody else is learning Spanish. But as they say, hindsight is 20/20, not foresight. And yet in our Torah portion, it seems that Moses' foresight is 20/20. See, I give you today the choice of blessing or curse. The blessing when you listen to the commandments of Adonai your God, which I command you today. The curse if you do not listen to the commandments of God and you deviate from the path which I command to you today. As Moses lays out these extreme choices between blessing and curse, Moses reminds us that only we have the ability to decide our destiny. A curious thing about these words is that he starts with re'eh, the instruction to see. It's a superfluous word. So why use it? Why command the people to see? So the rabbis offer a beautiful midrash that gives us a parable. An old man sat on a highway from which there branched 2 roads. One was full of thorns at the beginning, but clear at the end. And the other was clear at the beginning, but full of thorns at the end. He sat at the fork in the road and warned the travelers, saying, although you see the thorns there, travel this road because it will eventually be clear. Those who were wise enough to listen would have some difficulty at first, but went in peace and arrived in peace. But those that did not listen would stumble in the end. Not satisfied with the simple reading of this choice between blessing and curse, the Midrash instead describes the reality of decision-making. It is rare that a dilemma presents itself with such drastic options: good versus evil, right versus wrong, blessing versus curse. Most difficult choices present themselves in nuanced shades of color along a spectrum of what seems to be right possibilities. Particularly, some choices might appear to be immediately beneficial, but after a while may prove to be destructive, while others present as difficult, but may end up rewarding in the long run. This is the thorny reality of choice that the Midrash is teaching us, and the message that Moses is trying to impart to us. Choosing correctly requires us to see ahead beyond the moment, to see farther on towards the implications of the decisions that we make. The Talmud gives another strange example. A few days ago in Gittin, the Mishnah says, with regard to one who was thrown into a pit and thought he would die there, and he said that anyone who hears his voice should write a bill of divorce for his wife, and he specified his name, her name, all the relevant details. Those who hear him should write this bill of divorce and give it to his wife, even though they can't see the man and do not know him. Now it gets even weirder. The Gemara asks, but let us be concerned that perhaps the source of the voice in the pit is a demon, as no one saw the person in the pit. Rav Yehuda says it's referring to a case where they saw the being in the pit had a human form. The Gemara objects. It is a case where they saw demons too can appear in human form. It gets even weirder. The Gemara explains, it is a case where they saw that he has a shadow. The Gemara objects, demons also have a shadow. The Gemara explains, it's a case where they saw that he has the shadow of a shadow. And the Gemara objects, perhaps demons too have a shadow of a shadow? And Rabbi Hanina says, nope. Yonatan, my son, taught me that demons have a shadow, but they do not have a shadow of a shadow. Now, first, I bet you didn't know the Talmud, this book of law, could be so weird. But if we put aside the fact that a man stuck in a pit is yelling for someone to divorce his wife instead of yelling for help to get out of the pit, and we just focus on this demon with a shadow of a shadow, we still have to figure out what to do and how to make sense of this. So Rabbi Shmuel Herzfeld teaches what is a shadow. The shadow is the ramifications of our actions. The demon inside all of us does not see ramifications. It just wants to act. But as a righteous person, we need to see the shadow, the ramifications of what we are doing. But not only that, the shadow of the shadow. How might this play out? Not just, is French more practical than Spanish? But what are the ramifications of what I do today for next year, for the next generation, for 500 years from now? We say that there's no time like the present, but we act as if there is no time but the present. Moses challenges us to do the right thing, even if the rewards will not be immediate. One great example of this is the sabbatical and Jubilee years, which challenge us to let the land rest every 7th year. Can you imagine an agrarian culture just letting the land lay fallow for an entire year? Just having faith that there will be enough. But letting the land lay fallow ensured that the soil would remain rich and fertile. It was scary in the short run, but the Torah, God, Moses, and as our tradition teaches, all righteous people need to look beyond the short term and think about the long-term effect of every choice. The choices of life and death, blessing and curse, are never as straightforward as they appear in our Torah reading. Our portion is trying to teach us that in order to choose correctly, we need to have vision, the ability to see past the immediate momentary gratification or the immediate moment of difficulty to correctly discern the proper path towards attaining blessing and evading curse. We need to see the shadow of the shadow. In his book, Long Path, Ari Wallach points out that many of the problems we face today, from climate change to work anxiety, are the result of short-term thinking. We are constantly bombarded by notifications and breaking news that are overwhelming our central nervous systems, forcing us to react to the moment and ultimately disconnecting us from what really matters. It isn't always easy to make good decisions for our future selves. Whether it's about eating healthy foods, studying, saving for retirement, or recycling, we tend to pick what we want right now over what we might need in the far-off future. And so how do we do this? How do we choose to have the long view? How do we plant now for the future? One trick Ari Wallach teaches is imagining future you. Turn future you into a pen pal. Try writing a letter to your future self. He asks you to imagine who exactly is this future you, and what do they have present you to thank for. Whenever I am procrastinating, I always do this. I say, future me will be so grateful. And I'm grateful that I wrote this earlier this week because I had friends pass away. I was able to be there with them. Shabbat shalom.
Wouldn't it be great if we had vision when we were healthy, to have that gratitude and figure out what we're going to be in the future and how we have to watch over our health? And wouldn't it be wonderful if those who need prayers for healing if they would have that vision of their future selves of being well and whole. And in between those two situations are the prayers that we offer this evening. If you are thinking of a loved one and you would like to share their name before our prayer of healing, please raise your hand high up. Thank you. Rachel. Thank you. Wendy. Thank you. Back. Thank you. Thank you. Anne? Thank you. Joan? Thank you. Bill? Barbara? Nancy? We ask God to grant compassion and wisdom to all of the physicians and caregivers who are caring for our loved ones. We ask God also to support those who are in the struggle of addiction or abuse. May they be blessed with perseverance and fortitude. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, healer of the sick. Amen.
Rifa'enu Adonai v'nerafeh, Hoshienu v'nivashea, El karov l'chol karov, ach karov l'reov yishor. We pray for healing of the body. We pray for
If you are comfortable to do so, please rise as we turn to page 282 for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו ככם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. At these moments, at the end of our service, where we think of our loved ones who are no longer with us in this physical sense, but whose spirits are still here guiding us, even sending us messages, maybe not as clear as when they spoke to us, but still we feel a presence. We are thinking also this evening, in addition to those whom we may have known and loved, all those in Hawaii who have lost their lives, and the understanding of when the world turns upside down, we try to be the community that can help bring people back. And so it is our custom here at Temple Beth Am, if you hear your loved one's name before the Kaddish, please rise and stay standing through the Kaddish prayer. On this Erev Shabbat, we say Kaddish for David Sokol, Patricia Patty Burke, Michelle Hope Sherry, Daniel Salzberg. We're in a period of 30 days of mourning for Donald Walsh, Marjorie Sarah Leader Harris Goldstein, Sandra Sandy Kramer, Dr. Len Zimmerman, Barry Goodman, Evelyn Axler, Gershon Spencer, Zvika Golod, Simone Shankar. Those we are missing during this first year: Judy Agron, Chaim Aklepi, Lillian Berman, Hayusia Perelman Bernstein, Charlotte Glovsky Brody, Arthur Farkas, Florence Farkas, Linda Frankel, Mitchell Mitch Friedman, Jocelyn Jeroff, Judith Gilbert Gould, Andrew Gross, Dr. Martin Glazer, Dr. Henry Irwin Glick, Jennifer Gross, Joseph Harvest, Dr. Jeffrey Hertz, Evan Foster Higgins, Ruth LaShaw, Janice Levy, Alan Gerson, Phyllis Lieberman, Lawrence Larry Parker, Karen Michelle Solomon, Debbie Sandberg, Michael Schellist, Susan D. Score, Tanya Stern, Bela Malka Marsha Weinstein. Our congregation observes and remembers those whose yahrzeit occurs at this time: Shirley Sherman Abraham, Esther Adelson, David Abel, Dustin Aiken, Peter H. Ballin, Rose Burke, Harold Burke, Arkady Birkin, Alan L. Bisno, Samuel Bohm, David Brand, Edward Brown, Alvin Cassell, George Chudler, Albert Cohen, Lucille Cohen, Jack Cohen, Bertha T. Cowan, Ruth Mussman Dixon, Dr. Menachem Manya Distenfeld, Dr. Samuel E. Dukowski, Alice Eggers, Richard Feeder, Beverly Fine, Rose Feldman, Leo Fixler, Annette Horowitz-Flaum, Ernestine R. Germain, Stephen Gluckstern, Sari Gold, Benjamin Goldfarb, Goldie Goldner, Marilyn Goldsbein, Rabbi Isidore Greengrass, Albert Gruber, Esther Gerland, Charles Gurman, Julius Haber, Ernest Harris, Beverly Hauser, Israel Kalkstein, Leonard Kaplan, Paula Katz, Jean Keller, Colonel Donald W. Lang, Abe Lefkove, Shirley Lenoble, Dr. Leo Levin, Janet G. Levin, Stanley Levy, Jack Lieberman, Rose Lipcon, Anna Longo, Harry Marcus, Louis Marek, Arnold Masterman, Bernice Bunny Michelson, Irving S. Nager, Morris Odesky, Ida Parker, Max Pulver, I.L. Reisman, Melvin P. Reese, Lois Robinson, Francis Robinson, Mauricio Meir Manor Romano, Jerome B. Rose, Hannah Rossin, Harry Saltzman, Bertram Schild, Abraham Schneider, Ethel R. Schumann, Jeanette Schwartzberg, Shirley Mervis Seitlin, Dennis Shields, Dorothy Spar, Ethel Spatzer, Fred Spiegelman, Martin H. Stein, Benjamin Stein, Bernice K. Strauss, Charles Strauss, Bernard Sturmack, Rose Suede, Alter Naftula Shanietska, Irving Tenzer, Sophie Tryon, Francine Davidson Weinberg, Bernard Welkind, Murray Merkel. Are there other loved ones' names you would like to add this evening? Return to page 294 and we rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon uv'yamei chon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman koriv v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitman v'nesei, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudusha b'rechu, le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechmata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God send peace to all Israel, to all the world, and may God comfort all who are bereaved among us. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. We like to greet you on Shabbat. We're recognizing the members of our board of directors, and this evening the president of our temple board, Rich Siegel, will give you some warm greetings.
Shabbat Shalom. So it's kind of a melancholy Shabbat for me tonight because this is our last Shabbat in the chapel for the season. For me, it's, and I, as everyone knows, I became president just a few months ago, so all of my presidential remarks have been in this room. But I kind of feel like I've been performing like at a very hip, like West Village club, like working out new material. And like next week, it's like Radio City Music Hall. So I hope you all will join us. And of course, I have to write it down. I wanted to thank the clergy and Billy for. I was always told by David Young, you can say anything you want, but you have to start by thanking the clergy. Even if they don't do a good job, you have to thank the clergy. But tonight you did an excellent job, so it was easy. So as people who have come to these chapel Shabbats know, I kind of try to search the news every week for something that may be interesting to the congregation. And it seems like the last couple weeks, I was away for a couple weeks, but the news feed is just overpopulated with Lionel Messi stories. Messi's here, he's playing for Inter Miami, they haven't lost the game. Every home game is sold out for the rest of the season. Every away game that he's playing at, the away stadium is sold out for the rest of the season. So I was looking for some type of nugget that would be relevant for the congregation, and I came across a list that I clicked on of the most significant relocations to South Dade in the last generation. And I don't want to go through the whole list, but there was 3. Number 3 was 2010, as you may recall, LeBron James deciding to take his talents to South Beach. Anyone who was here, that was number 3. Number 2, which was quite a surprise, was actually Messi. That was the number 2 coming to Inter Miami and bringing his skills here. Number 1, relocation to South Florida. I mean, I didn't believe it myself, but now I do. 2015, the senior rabbi at Temple Beth El in Fort Myers decided to take his talents to Pinecrest and is now sitting up here with us. So clearly, at least for us, the most consequential relocation is South Florida in recent memory. So I actually went back and found Rabbi Barris's initial interview when he was hired here. And it's amazing to me, thank you, Rabbi Greengrass. I didn't even know that today's Torah portion was about the foresight of Moses. Because while Moses had amazing foresight, I have to rank his foresight up with the foresight of our senior rabbi. His quote when he joined was, "At Temple Beth Am, I walked into a great situation that doesn't need a lot of changes." So I think if there's one thing that really is the hallmark of the last 8 years at Temple Beth Am, especially if you look outside, is we really were perfect 8 years ago and nothing needed to change. So compared to Fort Myers. I do have to make 2 announcements, though, even though that's not my gig up here. The first and foremost is August 30th is the official launch of the rabbi's new book, A Reason to Rise. Anyone that's been living under a rock this summer, welcome to the real world. The rabbi wrote a book. I'm not gonna spoil it for you for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is I haven't read it yet. But I did buy it and gave it a 5-star review. So don't think reading the book is a barrier to trying to spearhead Rabbi Barris's book from 73,000th most popular book on Amazon to 27,300. But it is. I will read it. I definitely will read it. And the last announcement is anyone who's around for Minyan tomorrow morning. They have a special guest musician sitting in who also happens to be the president of your congregation. And with respect to speaking of perfect foresight, I've already been told I did an amazing job. So with that, I wish everybody a peaceful and restful Shabbat and Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, so join us, and Rich will be sitting in with our Minyan musicians tomorrow morning, 10:30, Torah study at 9 a.m. Well, we're wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom as we close our service with Oseh Shalom. If you are comfortable, please rise.
Oseh Shalom,